Did you know that the exact origin of origami is still debated today? Many studies say that the art form originated in Japan, but it does have some roots in China. Paper was originally invented in Japan, but once it got into the hands of the Japanese, its quality drastically improved. One of the first instruction books was called Senba Rizuru Orikata in 1797. It showed how to make cranes out of square-cut paper. Like cranes, origami frogs are very simple to make, and they were invented in the 18th century by Nishikawa Tsukunobu. Today, I'm here to show you how to make an origami frog. I will begin by giving you some insight on the importance of frogs in Japanese culture, then I'll show you how to actually make one. Lastly, I'll explain a little bit why this Japanese art form influenced me and my childhood. And for this project, all you're going to need is one sheet of printer paper and a marker of your choice. That's it, that's all you need, and that's how simple it can be. And now on to the actual step-by-step tutorial. So, even though we have a printer paper here, that's not the best way to start for origami. You're actually going to need to make it into a square, so I'm going to show you how to do that. You're first going to take one corner of the paper and take it to the other side and repeat it on the opposite side. Which brings me to my first point about frogs and its importance in Japanese history. So frog is known as kyaru and is a symbol for fertility and good fortune. And it translates to return, and because of this, they're given to travelers as gifts to make sure they return safely from their travels. But now, here, I'm making a crease to where the end of the triangle hits the end of the paper and folding it on the other side as well, so that I'm able to do a classic tear. And while you're tearing, I'll share another little fun fact. Frogs are also associated with the cycle of nature and life, and because of this, it's actually common to find them in temples and other places of worship. But I'm done with my fun facts now, and I'll get strictly to the actual how to make an origami frog tutorial. So now that you have your paper, you're going to flatten it out, make sure all the creases aren't there, and then you're going to fold it in half. And a quick tip is to make sure you fold it in half in the sides where both sides are straight edged, because although you did the clean cut tear, there are going to be some fluffy edges, which is totally okay. Now you're going to do the same thing and bring one corner to the opposite side of the paper and make a crease. Repeat that on the other side with your other hand and then also make a crease. This is important to make some guidelines for later on. So while you're doing it, you're going to open it up and then you're going to take the top into the end that you made the guidelines of. And you're going to crease there too to make it all nice and sturdy. Roll up your sleeves just because you're doing some hard work. And then you're going to do something interesting. You're going to make sure you're going to follow a midline of the structure. You're going to pull each side to the midline, and then the leftover paper that's at the top, you're going to press down so that everything becomes into a triangle. If you missed that, you can always go back. That's totally okay. But now what I'm doing is making some legs. So I'm taking up the upper corner and putting up as far as I can to make a leg shape, but also making sure to stop at that midpoint, which is very important to make it true to its frog-like nature. But then you're going to take the bottom of the paper and bring it up just below the triangle, make a crease like you've been doing, and you're doing great so far. Here's a little close-up. And then you're going to take one of the pair of the legs, fold it over on top of the other so they can get underneath. You're going to fold that into the imaginary midline that we established earlier on. You're going to make sure the paper lays flat because that's the key to origami. And then you can fold the other legs to the other side and do the same thing. Basically, there's been a lot of repeating. So if you know one step, you definitely know what the step that's going to come after. And then here, I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm bringing the bottom up to the top right below the structure that we just made. Here it becomes a little tight. That's okay. Just keep fighting it. Printer paper tends to be a little thicker than traditional origami paper, but today we're working on a budget. And I think this is way more friendly for everyone to do. So now you're going to take each flap and fold it into triangles like so. Make sure you fold the triangles toward you. And then you'll notice that when you bring the triangles up, they have a tip that's removable. So you're going to move that tip outwards and then flatten it. There's a lot of moving, a lot of flattening, whatever. But it's important that you do pay attention here and you flatten. This is the basic structure for the hind legs, which are super important to make sure that your frog shape is identifiable. And now you're going to make the hind legs by pressing down the opposite way that you did the front legs. Just a little triangle on each side, keeping in mind of the midpoint. Now you have the basic structure of a frog, but what we're going to be doing today is making it extra fun. So we're going to make it jump. So we're going to fold that one piece upward one more time, even though it's a little hard. We're going to fold it up there, and then we're going to fold back again. And that's going to create like kind of a little tab for us to press down so that it's able to jump. And here you go. Here's the basic little frog shape. You can do whatever you want with it. You can color it. But here's a little demonstration so that you can actually see what you have created. And it's super fun, super interesting. And I hope you guys enjoyed me making this. We didn't do one important step that I said you would need a marker for. So you would need the marker to make your frog come to life. It needs eyes, which are eyes are the gateway to the soul. So here you go. Finish with my marker of choice. And here's the frog with the finished product. Very simple, but it does work as I just showed in the previous clip. But I wanted to show you how the frog is important to my childhood and to my development as a whole, because it is. Origami has been. Well, I first started making origami frogs in elementary school when I found a tutorial online on YouTube, which is pretty typical of me as a Gen Z girl. I brought them to school and even showed my classmates how to make them. And according to Faber-Castell, origami actually strengthens your brain. It requires hand-eye coordination and stimulates mental concentration, and these skills are imperative for children at a developing age like I was. Teaching those around me has inspired me to garner more patience within myself. I learned how to become a better instructor and work more efficiently with others, which is a very important skill. But I learned that origami actually helps us connect with our peers, and for this reason, I wanted to share how I made an origami frog. But to wrap things up, it's important that I mention that, again, origami was invented about 1,000 years ago and is still widely popular today. It started out as just an art form, but now it is used to also practice mindfulness and meditation. Although I've been making these frogs since elementary school, finding out its history through this speech has made me connect with origami even more, and I hope it does the same for you.